In this video, we're going to cover systems of equations, word problems. There's 4 steps I want you to follow. Step 1, read. Seriously, just read the problem, the whole thing, start to finish, just read it. 2, define some variables. 3, where we write our equations. 4, finally get to solve. Okay. Step 1. An arena charges $75 for each seat in section A, $55 for each seat in section B, and $30 for a seat in section C. There are 3 times as many seats in section B as there are in section A. The revenue from selling all 23,000 seats is $870,000. How many seats are in each section of the arena? Okay. Step 2, we want to define some variables. We don't just pull this out of nowhere. I would say the best place to get it is the very last sentence, the question you want to answer. How many seats are in each section of the arena? That's what we want to know. That's what our variables should be. So let's let A be the number of seats in section A. B is the number of seats in section B. C, number of seats in section C. Step 3, now we can write our equations. Each sentence should give you some information. So here we know 75 for each seat in A, or 75 for each A, $55 for each seat in B, and $30 for each seat in C. Now this is going to add up to the total cost. It's not in the sentence we just read, but we'll get there. Let's see what our next sentence tells us. Next sentence says there are 3 times as many seats in section B as there are in section A. So this gives us a relationship for A and B. So we have some relationship for A and B. Now our goal is to make an equation. So we want to make these equal, but right now they're not. So there's 3 times as many seats in section B. So B is 3 times bigger. So if B is 3 times bigger, what would we have to do to make them the same? Well, it could make A bigger, increase A until it gets the same as B. So if this is 3 times as big, well, if I've made this 3 times bigger, they should be the same. Next sentence. The revenue from selling all 23,000 seats is $870,000. So now we know the amount of money we get per seat if we sold all of them. 870,000. Now there's one other piece of information we got. It says the revenue from selling all 23,000 seats. That tells us the number of seats total. So if we took all of the seats in section A, all of the seats in section B, and all of the seats in section C, there's a total of 23,000. So now we can do step 4. We can finally solve. This is set up nicely for substitution. So I'm going to take this, substitute it into the first equation. So 75a plus 55b, we know b is equal to 3a, plus 30c equals 870,000. Simplify. 55 times 3 is 165. Combine like terms. 75 plus 165, 240. Next step, we're going to substitute into our other equation. So we have a plus b, which we know is, again, 3a, plus c is combine like terms. 4a plus c is equal to now my goal is to combine these two. You could do elimination. I would say I'm going to do substitution because this is set up with a really nice c. So if I just took away 4a from both sides, I would have c is equal to negative 4a plus 23,000. Now I can substitute c into this equation. So 240a plus 30 times c, which is minus 4a plus 23,000 is equal to 87. So I'm going to simplify. Distribute. 30 times 4 minus 120. 30 times 23,000. Combine like terms. Divide both sides by 120. So now that I know A, I can actually go back and find B. Pretty easy. You know from here, 3 times A, which we found, is equal to B. 3 times 1500, 4500. So now that we know A and B, we can plug those back into any one of our originals. To find C, I'm going to choose this one since it's a little simpler than the others. So A, which is 1,500, plus B, plus C, combine, subtract from both sides. All right, let's take a look at our next example. So example 4, we want to make sure we go back and follow the same steps. So step 1, read the problem. At a college bookstore has a special deal on supplies for students. Gotta fix that. For $22, a student can buy 2 books, 4 pens, and 1 notebook. A student can also buy 1 book, 2 pens, and 3 notebooks for $21, as well as 3 books, 2 pens, and 1 notebook for $25. Set up a 3-variable system. What is the price of each book, pen, and notebook? So step 2, we want to define some variables. Remember, the best place to look for defining variables is the very last question. What is the price of each book, pen, and notebook? So let's have B be the price of 1 book. P price of 1 pen, and N price of 1 notebook. Okay, step 3, now we can go back and write our equations. So it says for $22, a student can buy 2 books, 4 pens, 1 notebook, or 2 times the number of books plus 4 times the number of pens plus 1 times the number of notebooks cost $22. Student can also buy 1 book, 2 pens, 3 notebooks for 21, or 1 times the number of books plus 2 times the number of pens plus 3 times the price of 1 notebook would be 21. And last, 3 books, 2 pens, 1 notebook for 25. So 3 books, 2 pens, 1 notebook for 25. So this one looks like it's set up for elimination. So let's do that. I'm going to choose to eliminate B first. So I'll keep this the same. Multiply this by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times 2 is 6. 21 times 2 is 42. And to eliminate, I want to subtract. Remember, it's a good idea to always write down what you're doing. So if you have to go back and check, you know what you did at each step. 2 minus 2 is 0. 4 minus 4 is 0. That works out nice. 1 minus 6 minus 5. 22 minus 42 minus 20. Nice equation I can solve. Divide both by -5. We get n is -20 divided by -5, 4. So next step, I want to do elimination using two different equations. So I'll choose the first and last. And again, if you eliminated b in the first, you want to choose the same. So I want these to be the same. I'll take this and multiply it by 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 21, 63. Keep that the same. Subtract. 3 minus 3 is 0. 6 minus 2. 9 minus 1. And 63 minus 25. So now I have an equation with p and n. In our first step, we found n. So let's plug that in, and we can find p. So plugging that in here. N was 4. Take away 32. Divide both sides by 4. P is equal to 6/4. We can reduce that to 3/2. Or we can say P is 1.5. So now that we have 2, we can go back to an original and use it to find our last variable. I'm going to go ahead and use that one right in the middle. So b, which we don't know, plus 2p, and we know p is 1.5, plus 3n, we know n is 4, equal to 21. So let's simplify. 1.5 times 2, 4 times 3. Take away 15 from both sides.